Ki nongyalam bat nong tre ke kongres haga kat kendai trik nok pra kila pelong da ka Iakhih hakhmat ke ophis rekam ke BJP ke jela ban pen pau persya ya ka jingpen kala badangshen jong ke sorkar pedeng ya ka skim Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act MGNREGA ka jingpen sangye ya ka MGNREGA bat ka jingpen kala ya ka sya ka J Ramji kamdei tang ka jingpen kala kerteng Henry ka ktah jur ya ka hok ten rajong weipa wei nongkyndong ban pre ban kata ong secretary ka Meghalaya Pradesh Congress Committee MPCC uba badwar habakran Syllad thai kubor ha ka khandai trik no pra kani ka an thamai ka weng no ya ka jingkular yo kam bashis pas ni ka ba pendu no ya ka jingpen biang kam ha ka jingsngo bet jong sorkar da ka ba pensyong nongrim kat kum ka jingmang pisa ka badan ula ong uba badwar ulama hamru bakan ga jingle ka penkala tiar yale ya ka skim jingaram da ka bapen kala syak atyar san perthei kabala ban pendan kam da ka bajin ki nong shong shnong kin ma jing e shibun namar ka shong kat kum ka man san perthei jong ka party sensar ki nong shong shnong ki basisien kila yo ya ka jing penthikina halor ka kam ka jam menta kila ban mat ya ka jingbam yo kam sho bat ka ban kta ya ka jing em jong ki bat ban pen bore ki long yeng ban shate hakaram ula benram ula pen paru ya ki jingta bakham jeliu kata ha ka baki khun ki kti kila ban shap pen pep school ban wat bela ka jing siu ha ki jaka nongkyndong kala ban hiar namar ka jingbon palat ki nong trei bat ki nong airam kila ban pendan kam bakla ya ki bakerdo bat ka ban nang penjur ya ka jingdong ha Meghalaya ha ka babun ki shania ha ka kam bela ha ka skim shis pas ni kani ka jingle kala ban kata jori ki long yeng long sem ha ka liang ka yo ka kot ong ubadwar da ka bakhot ya ka jing persya ka bayat lilang uni unong ngalam kongres ula kentu ya ki parti san perthei bat ki pat ba ban penya so lang ha ka jingaki ngimdei ka jela ka barius pa ka per capita GDP jongi ka dei na pedeng ki baduna tam hapo kari ngidei ban yeng bat ban yada ya ki trash nong ki jongi na kani ka kampen hiar kapun persya ya ka kongres bat ya ki jing thmu jong Mahatma Gandhi ula ong shu
Send a message, especially to the village folks in Meghalaya, that this change of the act or the discontinuation of the MNREGA but converting into a GRAMG is just not about name change. It is about the fundamental right of and the guaranteed by the constitution of the country, the fundamental right of everybody to get a job. So now what the impact is happening is that this law that has come into in action yesterday will actually change the entire scenario. It will change in the sense that the villagers at large will not have the right to get a job anymore. So the 100 days is not a guarantee anymore, but rather it is going to be the decision of the government whether they will give it or not give it, depending on the funding that they will have. So it is not the pressure that the government will take, but the pressure, in fact, it's going the other way around. The government will give pressure to the public at large now. So there will be communities that will be impacted to a very large extent, depending on the political will of the government at large, which means that it has become what we call as a weaponization of a certain scheme, and this can become a very good political weapon. It could be vendetta in nature, it could be helping in nature, something like that. But then at the end of the day, who will suffer is the public at large. We believe that the villagers who are actually guaranteed a job today might not be able to get that job anymore. And if that happens, the worst case scenario will happen, because then the livelihood of those villagers and those families in villages will be impacted to a very large extent. And in Meghalaya, where we have a lot of dependency on such a scheme, which we call as a scheme She's Pasngi, will actually percolate down to the fact that the families will not be able to sustain their own economically. So, which means that even the children of those families might not be able to, the families will not send the children to school anymore, but take them out from the schooling and send them to jobs. That is the first impact. The second impact is that since that the jobs scarcity will be there, and, and there will be a lot of people searching for employment, there'll be a lot of unscrupulous people who will take advantage of it. So, which means that even the incomes of many of the people who are working in rural belt will actually come down. So the wages that people get will actually come down to a very large extent, because there will be a huge supply of manpower, but there will be not enough work. So that also will be a very big impact, which I think the BJP has not even bothered to look at, and the BJP is just doing this just to reach its own agenda, and that's why we've come here to protest also because of that. We believe that this is an approach in which the BJP is doing, which is just a vendetta against the Congress, a vendetta against our father, the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and we believe this is very, very wrong. And the worst part is, there will also be a lot of money lenders who will take full advantage of this, because people, when they become poorer and poorer, they might be having some property or the other. So now, since they are not able to sustain their livelihood, they will go and take loans from other people, and people will give those loans. And what will happen is that the families will be trapped, what we call as a debt trap, and that also will be very detrimental for our society. And there's so many impacts that can happen just because of this scheme. And we believe that the public folk at large should come to an understanding, and we should protest. We're not saying that only the Congress should protest. Everybody should protest, whether it's the NGOs, whether it's the political parties from the state itself. Because Meghalaya at large, we all know that we are not a very rich state. We're still a very poor state. Our GDP, come what may, the GDP per capita is still one of the lowest in the country. And we believe that this is something which we need to stand up for, and we need to at least protect the village folks that we have in our state.